Hi, this is Cliff. I am here to talk to you about the business side of restaurants, Chapter 7, and that has to do with the analyzing profit and loss. And it's always one of those items where you always have to pay attention to. And this chapter is actually pretty small, but it's very interesting and very important at the same time. So I'm going to go over just a few of the pages with you just so you understand a little bit about where I'm coming from. So the first one is on page 72. It's the profit per cover. And in a restaurant, it's very important to know the profit per cover. Now, it's not something that you're thinking of every single day, but at the end of the month, when you're looking at your total covers that came in and your sales, and you're looking at your profitability, and hopefully it's profit and not loss, you're saying to yourself, wow, that's fantastic. I made $8 for every single cover that walked in here, or every person that walked in the restaurant. And that's a very strong way to make some great profits. Now, on the other hand, if you sit back and if you lost money, well, if you lost $1 or $2 per cover and you're doing 1,000 covers every single week, well, it adds up really, really quickly. But at least it's not $5 lost per cover. So the goal is obviously making money on a profit per cover, but knowing what it is on a monthly basis will help you with estimates also for the following month or the following weeks as well. Now, in addition to that, the next chapter or the next page on page 73 is about the profit per cover. Now, profit per day. So the profit per day is also important as well. So when you're looking at your profit at the end of the month, if you have 30 days, it's always good to know on an average basis of what you are making on a profitability scale on a profit per day. Now, in a restaurant, it's important to know that there's a lot of times in the past where I've had my spreadsheets out and my analysis on a day-to-day basis where I could actually look at the sales and I know exactly if we made money or not. And that's based on the profitability at the end of the month, the cost of goods, the prime cost, the labor, all that good stuff. So that's always something to pay attention to, and that's on page 73. Now, the next one on page 74 is a little different because the profit per meal period is something where if you have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner operation going on, well, more than likely your profitability is going to be better in the evening hours because you're making more per sales per hour on your hours per sales per hour. Now, if you're doing a breakfast only, breakfast, you're working really hard. You need a lot of people to run the shift, and it's not as profitable as operation, but you work just as hard as you would at dinner. And the difference is they're only paying $10 and $11 for a breakfast item per person, whereas at dinner time they could be spending up to $100 per person. So years ago, when I first got into the business, I started out doing a breakfast job, a breakfast server, and I thought I was doing great until all of a sudden I started working dinners, and I said, wait a minute. I went from doing $250 in sales a day just in my little section as a server up to $1,200 and $1,500 a day. And all of a sudden the gratuities were a lot different as well. So, but knowing the sales per meal period is important, but it gives you a good idea if you're having a problem of sales, especially if you're breaking it down by meal periods, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or day parts on your POS system. It gives you a good option to find out where the problem is. Because if at the end of the month you are not making a profit, and you have all your sales for breakfast, lunch, and dinner just lumped in one category, sales, and not by meal period, it makes it very difficult to figure out where the issue actually is. So the important part is making sure the day part is broken down in your POS system. That way there you can always figure out where the problem is if there is a problem and you're not making any profit and the sales are really good. So that's what I have for this chapter, and I will look forward to seeing you at chapter number 8.